Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at using players without an active playing style today. So I did a video recently where we looked at tactics, we looked at using individual instructions to manipulate playing styles. I covered all positions in that same one video. This time around I'm going to separate the different positions, so I'm going to do a different video for each position. I'm going to start with centre backs today. It just took so long getting that last video out that I figure I'll be able to get the separate videos out a bit quicker this way. So let's start by just reminding ourselves of what playing styles are active at centre-back. So firstly, you've got the Destroyer. They describe it as a tenacious battler who keeps opposition attacks at bay through hard tackling and pressing. Basically, Destroyers going to be quite aggressive. They're going to be more inclined to step forward and defend a little bit higher up the pitch, step out of position to try and defend a bit more preemptively and aggressively. Then you've got build-up, a player who likes to drop back and trigger attacks from deep, occasionally feeding long balls forward. So basically, build-up is the most reserved centre-back playing style. They'll just hold their position a bit better. They're less inclined to step forward, step out their position. And then you've got extra frontman, an interesting one. If you saw that previous video I did about individual instructions and playing styles, I struggled to make an extra frontman actually play like an extra frontman, because they describe an extra frontman as a defender who likes to join the attack and lay siege on the opposition goal at every given opportunity. They just don't seem to get forward for me. I've been trying, even while I've been, recording for this video, I've tried loads of things to try and make an extra frontman get forward and, lay siege on the opposition goal at every given opportunity. They just don't do it for me. So still haven't figured that one out. Maybe that's a separate video for another time. But those are your three playing styles for centre-backs. You've got Destroyer, Build Up, and Extra Frontman. But you can also play someone at centre-back if they're fully proficient in that position without an active playing style. So as one example, we've got Costa Curta here. He's a defensive fullback. Defensive fullback playing style is active at fullback, but not at centre-back. But he's obviously fully proficient at centre-back, so you can play him there. There have been a lot of cards on eFootball over the course of time that you can play at centre-back who don't have an active playing style. One of the original ones, I think I've got him on my bench here. Lucas Hernandez I've still got. This is the GP card from right at the beginning on eFootball. And look how insanely good he is. This is probably the original glitch centre-back. There have been some since then. More recently, we've had the likes of Dan Burn. But this guy, Lucas Hernandez, again, defensive fullback, left back, but he's also fully proficient at centre-back. And if you play him at centre-back, those stats are fantastic. Even now, he holds up and he's comparable to a lot of paid centre-backs. But he won't have an active playing style. That's the question we're going to look into answer today, is what happens when you play a centre-back without an active playing style. So playing styles, for anyone who's new to the game, doesn't have much understanding of it, just about every player, I was going to say every player, you do occasionally get a player who doesn't have one. Normally it's a GP card. There have been one or two featured, or maybe even one or two legend cards that didn't have an active playing style. But generally speaking, players will have a playing style. Super is an orchestrator, and it just determines the kind of movements they'll make on the pitch, the kind of runs they'll make forwards and backwards. So with an orchestrator, in the case of Ricky Puig, as a centre midfielder or a defensive midfielder, it just means he'll be quite reserved. He'll hold back. He won't be making too many runs forward. He will get forward at times, but he won't be too quick or aggressive to make those runs forward. He'll mainly kind of hold back and loiter around as a kind of deep line playmaker. Whereas if you look at Rui Costa in comparison, he's a whole player. So if you were to play Rui Costa SS, attack midfield, or centre midfield, which is where Ricky Puig is now, as opposed to Ricky Puig, who's an orchestrator, who will be kind of holding back for the most part and kind of playmaking from deep. A whole player will be bombing forward at every opportunity. As soon as your team gets the ball and there's a bit of space ahead of Rui Costa, he's going to be darting into those spaces, making good attacking runs. So those playing styles make a big difference to the kind of movements that players make. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. And what happens with centre-backs when they don't have an active playing style. So just before I really get into it, I'll just make clear, like I did with the previous tactics video, I tried a lot of different things while I was making this video, all the matches that I played. A lot of playing styles. I tried both legend cards and regular cards, like highlights and player of the week cards and so on, just trying to make sure that a player ID wasn't a factor, and also tried different builds on trainable players. Tried red and blue mentality as well. So I tried a lot of different things just to basically rule things out, other factors, just to make sure nothing was going to interfere and bring different results. It was all pretty consistent though. So what you're going to find with the footage you're going to watch is that the vast majority of these matches, these clips come from, it was either long ball counter or out wide, and usually on neutral mentality as well. So like I say, I did try a lot of things out just to make sure that everything was consistent and I didn't miss out on any possible factors that could influence the way players play without an active playing style. So I'm going to run through a whole lot of clips from the matches that I played while I was making this video. I'm going to make some observations. I'm going to try to address some of the questions people ask and the claims people make about centre-backs who don't have an active playing style, because there are people who think it's fine. I think it's fine. I've never had a problem with it. But there are people who don't like using players without an active playing style. There are people who suggest that a centre-back will be more likely to stray from their position but get caught out, be less positionally disciplined perhaps, maybe just not defend as well. So I'll try to address some of those questions. As you're going to see in this example here, we've got Tomiyasu at centre-back without an active playing style. Here he is there. You see he steps forward. He follows Mbappe when Mbappe drops deep from centre forward. whereas Lamos alongside him is a build-up, and he was staying in position there. So in that example, you're thinking, okay, so is that to do with Tomiyasu not having an active playing style? And again, yeah, this is earlier in the match, Tomiyasu from our own goal kick. He starts running forward there, so you're thinking, okay, is that an issue with him not having an active playing style? Is that what's causing that? But I did try a lot of different combinations of playing styles at centre-back, and all centre-backs have a tendency to do it to some extent. You see Gustavo Gomez there, over the halfway line, way out of position. He's a destroyer. That's the kind of thing you expect from a destroyer. I tried playing destroyers with destroyers. I tried build-ups with build-ups. I tried all combinations of build-ups with an inactive playing style. Here's Gomez again. See, he steps forward from position again. This time he's successful. Destroyers, build-ups, inactive playing style, they all do that to some extent. And just to illustrate here, there's Lamos. He's a build-up centre-back. He's about to step forward there. He gets spun, he's caught out, he's out of position. So you're going to get moments like that with all centre-backs of all playing styles. I did find that. I did a lot of matches while I was making this video. Build-ups obviously won't do that as much as a destroyer. When centre-backs don't have an active playing style, to some extent, they will do that. But it's not because they don't have an active playing style. All centre-backs do it. One of the most common questions people ask about playing a centre-back without an active playing style is, will it make a difference what the player's original playing style is? So for example, with a defensive fullback being more inclined to drift to the side and drift back towards the fullback position, with an anchorman drift forward into midfield. So we've got both of those in this team. We see Barrios there as an anchorman. He's doing really well there. He's tracking his man, blocks off the angle, gets in the way. Oosh, he's not taking any chances there. Alongside him, we've got Tomiyasu, the defensive fullback. I did a few games with different combinations like this, and I can tell you that what I found was that it made no difference whatsoever. They both played the same way. They both defended well, both held their position. Neither of them drifted horizontally or vertically. So the answer to that question, whether their original playing style makes any difference when their playing style is inactive, no, it makes no difference whatsoever. Another thing people often ask about using a centre-back without an active playing style is whether their stats will have any impact on the way they play. So what I've done with Casemiro, I played him in a couple of games like this. I trained him to have high attacking awareness. I went all the way up to 12 on dexterity. We've got his attacking awareness to 77. Defensive awareness only 84, which is not great for a centre-back. And this is fully boosted in the game plan as well. And of course, I've got him position trained for centre-back. So a defender with lower defensive awareness, high attacking awareness, is that going to have any impact on the way that he plays? Well, you can see here from kickoff, we just scored a goal. Casemiro's a centre-back there alongside Lamos, who's a build-up. We get the ball back here, start working the ball forward, and you can see on the radar there, the defensive line stays intact. Casemiro and Lamos both staying back in their defensive positions. We're right the way into the opposition's defensive third there. Casemiro is not interested in getting forward. He's holding his position. And that's pretty much how he played. I tried Barrios as well as a centre-back. He's an anchor man. And Casemiro, even with high attacking awareness and low defensive awareness for a centre-back, it didn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. He was defensively disciplined. He played pretty well, to be fair. So the answer to that question, whether the player's stats make a difference to how they play without an active playing style, absolutely none. And similar to putting high attacking awareness on a centre-back without an active playing style, people sometimes suggest that your mentality, or your team's mentality, might make a difference. I mentioned earlier in the video, I tried different mentalities, red and blue. You see here, we got Costa Curta this time. He's a defensive fullback, so no active playing style, build up alongside him. Without the ball and with the ball, I found it made no difference being on red mentality. I played the whole of this game on red mentality. He kept his position. He was very disciplined, just like normal. So again, if you go on red mentality, will that make any difference? Nope, none whatsoever. One thing you might be wondering is whether you can use individual instructions on a centre-back without an active playing style to try and get them to kind of replicate an active playing style. For example, build up, destroyer, extra front man. If you saw my video I did recently when we looked at that, we were using individual instructions on players to change the way they played. There's basically only one thing you can do in a centre-back to do anything like that, and that's to put the attacking instruction on him to try and make him play the way an extra front man supposedly plays. But as I've said a few times in this and previous videos, I can't get an extra front man to actually play the way he's supposed to play, at least based on the description. The one thing you can do with a centre-back is you can put the attacking instruction on him, and then he'll get forward and join the attack whenever you have the ball, basically the way one of your centre-backs will when you go into full red mentality. Apart from that, there's really not a great deal you can do. But like I say, that's not necessarily the way an extra frontman will play, as you can see in this example. 2 extra frontman centre-backs, and in the whole of this game, including the whole of the second half on red mentality, they just stayed back and played like build-ups. So yeah, in terms of individual instructions, you can make a centre-back play the way that you would if you're on full red mentality. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just go full red. There's no point wasting an instruction on, to be honest. So that leads me to my conclusions, and I'm going to summarise my thoughts by addressing 2 questions. So the first one, which active playing style on a centre-back will be most similar to the way a centre-back plays when he doesn't have an active playing style? You've got the extra frontman, which is obviously a strange one. I've just not been able to make an extra frontman play the way that the description of that playing style suggests that they'll play. You've got Destroyer. Destroyer is obviously that a little bit more inclined to step forward, to be a bit more aggressive, defend a little bit higher up the pitch than other playing styles will. And then you've got a build-up, which is the most reserved playing style for a centre-back. And from my findings, I would say without an active playing style, centre-backs will be most like a build-up. I wouldn't say they're exactly like a build-up, because build-ups, I think, are just that little bit more reserved. They're more inclined to just hold their position. They won't step forward as much. I would say without an active playing style, a centre-back will be a little bit more inclined to do that, to step forward. Nowhere near as much as a Destroyer, and from my findings, but perhaps a little bit more than a build-up. So probably somewhere between a build-up and a Destroyer, but if you're going to pick one that they're most similar to, I would go with a build-up. And then the second question that I'll address, just in summary, this is the big one really, is there any detrimental effect to playing a centre-back without an active playing style? As I mentioned at the start, I've always felt like there's no problem with that. I've often played centre-backs without an active playing style. Tomiyasu, Costa Curta, a bunch of other ones, Dan Burn. I've never had a problem with it, and after playing all these matches, I think I did 20-something matches in preparation for this video, and you've seen clips from a lot of them while you've been watching. I have found absolutely no detrimental effect whatsoever to using a centre-back without an active playing style. The only one thing I would say is that if you really like a Destroyer, you like the way Destroyers are quite preemptive, they're quite aggressive, that kind of aggressive Destroyer behaviour, you're not going to get that from another playing style. You're not going to be able to recreate that with an individual instruction, and you're not going to quite get that from a centre-back without an active playing style. So if that's something you really want, then you could say that it's detrimental in that regard to have a centre-back without an active playing style. But outside of that, the simple answer to that question, is there any detrimental effect to having a centre-back without an active playing style? No, absolutely not. So there you go, there are my findings. As I always felt was the case, there's no real problem with having a centre-back without an active playing style. They all played fine for me. I tried a lot of combinations in these videos, in these matches, sorry, as I mentioned throughout the video. Costa Curta and Tomiyasu both played loads of games. They're both defensive fullbacks. I tried with attacking fullbacks, the two Kims here, and I've been swapping around a lot with defensive fullbacks, Angulo and Ishihara. I've had Hernandez as centre-back, Kunde as centre-back, they're both defensive fullbacks. I've had Gustavo Gomez a few times, he's a Destroyer. Lemos and Bruno, both build-ups. I've tried different combinations of all of these centre-backs and full-backs. And honestly, I just could not find any real problem using a centre-back without an active playing style. So yeah, that's what I found. If you found anything different, and do let me know. If you have different opinions, do let me know. We all find different things. Like I say, it's just my findings, just a kind of rough guide based on what I found. I'm not Amadeus by any means. I'm certainly not trying to be, but yeah, if you've got any thoughts on this, do let me know. I found it quite interesting doing this testing, and hopefully you found this video interesting yourself. Thank you for watching it. As always, I do really appreciate it. I'll try and get the next one done. I'll do fullbacks next. I'll try and get that one done as soon as I can. I'm crazy busy at the moment, but I'm going to try and get 1 or 2 videos done as soon as I can. And of course, we've got the update coming up. So yeah, there'll be more videos coming up. Hopefully 1 or 2 streams as well. Thank you for watching as always. Have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time.